Today is Sunday, July 25th, and this is Tokyo Daily, the brand new Olympic show from the Toronto Star. I'm Brendan Dunlop. Canada's on the podium. 5 years ago in Rio, Penny Oleksiak swam her way into Canadian hearts. Now she's got 5 Olympic medals. Before you went to bed Saturday, the now 22-year-old Oleksiak and longtime teammates Rebecca Smith, Maggie McNeil, and Kyla Sanchez swam their way to a silver medal in the 4x100-meter women's freestyle relay. Oleksiak was the anchor, touched the wall just before American Simone Manuel. It's the first time that Canada has ever finished better than the Americans in this event. A shout out to the Australian women who smashed the world record time. It was incredible to see the Aussies take gold in the fashion that they did. Dave Feshek is in Tokyo and wrote a story in the Toronto Star on Sunday about Canada's first medal at Tokyo 2020. Now, Penny was the most talked about teen in Rio. On day 2 in Tokyo, it's 18-year-old Tunisian Ahmed Hafnaoui that won over all the neutrals. The first-time Olympian ecstatic to win gold in the men's 400-meter freestyle, becoming Tokyo 2020's first great Cinderella story. Hafnaoui swam the slowest time in the semifinal to swim in lane 8 in the final. He beat Australia's Jack McLaughlin by a 16th of a second to win Tunisia's 5th ever Olympic gold medal. Pretty incredible story. Silver was in the water for Canada, though, at the Aquatic Center. Jennifer Abel and Melissa Chatreni-Beaulieu finished second in the women's synchronized 3-meter springboard. Canadian divers have stood on the podium in at least one event at every Olympics since Atlanta 96. That's impressive, but not as impressive as the Chinese, who have won that diving event, won gold, for the 5th straight Olympics. Good chance that the U.S. men's basketball team does not win their 4th straight Olympic gold medal. Far from the dream team, these Americans lost more pre-tournament Olympic exhibition games in 72 hours than in 29 years. A lot of nervy people watching the United States lose to France in their opener on Sunday. The Americans are still the bookies' favorites. It's the first time they've lost the Olympics since 2004, but still very much the bookies' favorites to win. But some good value if you like somebody else. Australia's 8-1, Spain 9-1, France 11-1, although I expect that line to change a little bit. If you woke up expecting to see highlights of Felix Auger-Aliassime's match with Andy Murray, well, you would have been surprised to see that the 20-year-old Canadian played Australian Max Purcell instead. Andy Murray has been dealing with a quad issue, and Team GB coaches suggesting that he focus on doubles instead. Maybe the late swap is what threw Felix off, as the Wimbledon quarterfinalist looked a little shaky and bows out in Tokyo after losing to the Aussie. Great piece in the Saturday Star by Rosa DiMano about Felix Auger-Aliassime and what it's been like for him to head off to Tokyo. He's going to be a Canadian tennis star for a very, very long time. Very happy to be joined by CBC's Devin Heroux in Tokyo. You spent all day at the Aquatic Center, so I'll start with the first question. Do you smell like chlorine?
Yeah, hot and humid. It's good for my skin, though. And it could be worse, right? I could have been out in the Tokyo heat. What a day it was at the Tokyo Aquatic Center.
Let's get right into the pool, man. You wrote a great story about Canada's women's relay team that took silver. Penny Oleksiak kind of came into these games as a quiet superstar. So to see them start and win, Canada's first medal in the same event that they won the first medal in the pool in Rio, it's a pretty great start to what can be an amazing Olympic campaign.
Yeah, it was special, right? Because I've gotten to know these swimmers really, really well over the last few years and over the last few months. And, here's the thing I think we need to talk about in a big way right now. The Canadian swimmers have downplayed greatly how affected they were by this pandemic. I'm going to say it. No other country in the world faced the restrictions the Canadian swimmers face. But in that Canadian way, they downplayed it, right? They haven't talked about it much. But they were out of the pool for months. Some of the swimmers who have been down in the United States left their training program, left their coaches, went to the Toronto Pan Am Sports Center and joined that elite group. There are 11 Olympic swimmers in that machine out of Toronto, and they all push each other. And we saw it, right? That fearsome foursome today, Kyla Sanchez, Maggie McNeil, Rebecca Smith, and then Penny powering them to the silver. That was sensational. It was magical to be inside the pool. There I am watching it. No cheering in the press box. Yeah, right. I'm pacing in the tribune and I'm going, okay, Kyla comes out of the blocks, gives them the chance. Maggie, an hour after swimming her 100-meter fly semifinal, lays it down, does her job. Rebecca Smith from Red Deer charges. And then Penny jumps into the pool. The Canadians are in 4th. And then look, there she is with Simone Manuel, a rematch of the 2016 gold medal 100-meter freestyle final. And guess what? Penny was better today. In the last 25, she wasn't going to be beat. Big race, Penny touches the wall, silver for Canada. I wish the place would have been packed. It would have been an awesome moment. But this is what we live for, right? We live for it as reporters. They live for it as the Olympians. And today it was a great moment. The 50th medal for Team Canada in swimming all time at the Olympics, one we're never going to forget.
Great performance. Always great to beat the Americans, no matter what discipline it's in. So I know that swim fans and non-swim fans, as everyone becomes an expert during the Olympic Games. Really enjoyed that. Were you in the aquatic center for the Tunisian winner Ahmed Hafnaoui when he touched the wall first and surprised the world?
Absolutely. And that's the first feel-good moment of these Olympics. And haven't we been waiting for that? Not that I'm going to say I was skeptical coming into the games about the unifying power of sport. I know it. You know it. We see it all the time. That's why I report on sport, the collective experience community. But that gold medal performance was just spellbinding. One coach in the facility kind of gave you, all the other teams and countries, they've got this huge group of people cheering them on in the crowd. One coach. Didn't that tell the story, right? An absolute joy, beautiful to watch, just sheer beauty of sport that played out in front of us. And that's the magic of these Olympics. It was awesome to watch their second gold medal ever in swimming. There it was.
Yeah, pretty incredible. Didn't even have the podium jacket. Everyone's got the wardrobe. All the athletes have it, and he didn't have one. To do it in lane 8 too is pretty incredible. How about Summer McIntosh? Her first Olympics. She's swimming next to Katie Ledecky and sets a Canadian record.
They weren't prepared for summer. I don't know if anybody's prepared for summer. These are Summer's Olympics. This is her time to shine. And like you said, Brendan, there she is, Katie Ledecky, one of the best ever. She went toe-to-toe, finished third in the heat, sixth fastest time overall. In her debut, she's going to be in the final of the 400-meter freestyle final. She'll swim in the 800 and the 1500. She's just getting started, and what a lineage she comes from. Jill McIntosh swam for Canada in the 1984 Olympics. Her sister, Brooke McIntosh, I actually interviewed at the Youth Olympics in January in Switzerland 2020. Talk about a high-powered family. I don't know what you were doing when you were 14. I wasn't doing that. Summer has arrived.
Just in referencing the summer and the heat, I mean, how are you dealing with the heat? I know you covered softball. You're covering the Canadian bronze medal game in softball again. What's it been like to sit out there, man, in what feels like 40 degrees, isn't it?
Well, so here in this area of the world, they have a sports drink called Pocari Sweat. I found it in Pyeongchang. I have found it once again here in Tokyo. It was actually made in Japan. It's the only thing keeping me going right now. Fukushima, 40 degrees, no awning, no press box, sweated it out. I actually didn't even have a seat in the tribune. I was in a backless seat with my laptop on my lap. That was scorching, 40 degrees. We just persevere, dripping, pants soaked, everything. It was a mess. I was at the women's beach volleyball for Melissa and Sarah, their opening match. They won. They're going to be so good. I expect them to win gold here. Scorching there, no cover in the press tribune. I'm squinting at my computer, trying to pound out these words. They made it easy on me. This is extraordinary. I mean, these are the logistic Olympics in a pandemic. You've got to be prepared when you pack your bag in the morning. I have forgotten things, but if you don't charge all of your equipment, it's going to melt down in the heat if you don't charge yourself and keep yourself hydrated. So I'm complaining. I'm sitting there. Imagine what it's like for these athletes. We know that some of them have passed out in the field of play. When we start getting into athletics, triathlon takes place here tomorrow as well. We're going to see how that heat affects it. I know the athletics team and a lot of the support staff of Team Canada, they've been tracking this for a couple of years now, at least. I think they're ready. I know the Australians, they're bringing slushies and ice baths and everything like this. So everybody is going about their business, trying to stay ahead of the heat, trying to beat the heat. I should also mention there is a typhoon headed for Japan inland here. It's supposed to hit late Monday night, Tuesday. Listen, Brendan, there's never not a dramatic moment when I'm reporting on things, so I'm buckling down for a typhoon as well.
Hey, your tweets have been on fire, man. So I've really been enjoying that. I've definitely been enjoying following the coverage. Let me just ask you about the pool again really quickly, because Jennifer Abel, some question marks coming into this. Her new partner, Melissa Citrani-Beaulieu, very, very close with. They competed really well. They got off to a slow start, but to take silver, they can be very proud with that performance on the 3-meter synchronized diving board.
Well, and you know what? Abel actually missed the podium in Rio. She came in fourth, and so she needed to make a change. That was bitterly disappointing for her. And you saw the emotion of the two of them when they won silver here today. But like you said, it was a slow start. I'm not going to profess to be a diving pro to know the ins and outs, but I was getting nervous. They were in sixth place after the first two dives. Rosalind Filion, who's a champion in her own right, she was telling me, calm down. The first two don't matter. I'm going, I don't know, Rosalind. Never doubt Rosalind Filion. So she's telling me, don't put too much into that. Everything changed on the third dive for the two of them. And then the fourth and fifth dive, the higher difficulty dives, when the pressure is ramping up because you're getting down to it, the Canadians just surged. And it was, here's, when people ask me about the Olympic experience and what it's like to report on the Olympics, it's hard to put your finger on what makes it magical and have that mystique. I think I saw it at the Tokyo Aquatic Center today, and this is how I describe it. You spend an entire lifetime and then a 4-year cycle preparing for this singular moment in this 3-4 minute time span for the women, and for a dramatic half hour for the divers today, and you have to deliver under pressure. And the Canadians were able to do that today. And Jen and Melissa, you could see it was such a mix, right, of emotion, relief, jubilation, everything in between, and it played out in front of us. And when I got the chance to speak to them in the mix zone, I asked Jen specifically about what she learned from that disappointment from Rio, and she said, I thought about that today in the middle of competition. She said, I was so focused on winning that medal and thinking that I had it locked, that I actually let the moment get away from me in Rio. She said, and today I could have done that again because we've won silver for the last 4 years in this exact event. We knew that's where we should have finished, but she said she never lost sight of the present moment. Paid off today.
Hey, beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thanks very much for taking the time to join me on Tokyo Daily, man. I look forward to talking to you again. And promise me 2 things. One, that you'll stay cool. And number 2, that when you're on the Japanese version of Jimmy Fallon, you'll post the full video, not just selected clips. We want to see the full video.
I just said before I came over here, I want to be big in Japan. I'm on track.
And he's still got 4 weeks over there. No doubt the legend of the 7-Eleven coffee-loving Canadian will continue to grow. Follow Devin Heroux on Twitter. Some great tweets, and he's tweeting all throughout the night. He's tagged on my post, so wherever you see this show, you'll see Devin Heroux tagged. What does your Twitter timeline look like, though, when you go to bed? Because mine was full of skateboarding tweets. There was a ton of them. And I can tell you that the streaming numbers have been massive for skateboarding. The IOC knew what they were doing, putting it on the schedule. 80 skaters from 24 different countries competing in skateboarding at the Olympics for the very first time. On day 3, women's skateboarders will take the spotlight. And on Sunday, Canadian Annie Julia found out that she made Team Canada to compete in the street event. The Montrealer was a substitute after an injury to a South African skater. Ranked ahead of her, Julia's in. Canada's flag bearers are in action for the first time. Monday, Miranda Ayam will lead Canada's women's basketball team out for the first time as they take on Serbia in their Olympic opener. A lot made about Canada's NBA stars failing to qualify the men's team for these games, but the women got a real chance here. This is the 3rd straight games that the Canadian women's have played in, and they'll be looking to best their all-time 4th-place finish, which was at Los Angeles in 1984. They got a very good chance. Nathan Hirayama starring for the Canadian men's rugby sevens team, who make their Olympic debut, taking on Great Britain. That's tonight at 8:30 p.m. That's 9:30 in the morning. Couldn't imagine playing rugby at 9:30 in the morning, but maybe the heat won't be as harsh. You can watch more than 3,000 hours still of Olympic coverage streaming on CBC if you are watching this in Canada. You can watch Tokyo Daily anywhere, every single day on the Toronto Star's YouTube page. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review. It really does go a long way. I really enjoyed bringing you Tokyo Daily, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.